That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Okay guys, I am in a fantastic mood. Really, don't know why. Maybe it's the steak I had last night. Maybe it's the way y'all are going down there and destroying that like button. Maybe it's the fact that we just passed 3,000 subscribers. But whatever the reason, I really hope y'all are having a great day. I really hope y'all are also in a great mood. And if that's not the case, hopefully watching this video will maybe improve your day, even if it's in the slightest. That will mean the world to me. But yeah, thank y'all so much for all the support on the videos lately. Y'all been absolutely killing it, and also with the support that y'all provided on Patreon. I mean, I was actually able to go out there and buy a new microphone for us. So I would love to hear in the comment section below if I need to work on the settings for the microphone, if I need to actually go out there and really try to optimize the way I'm using it, because I really don't know how to use this microphone. So if it sounds about the same as our other videos or maybe a little bit worse, please do not hold back. Let me know in the comment section, and yeah, that will be pretty much how I'll dictate or not if I need to continue to just play with the settings until I find something that may be a little bit better. But anyway, in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Twitter real quick. And a couple days ago, I sent out a tweet saying, hey, reply to this tweet with some screenshots of your Dynasty roster. And I'll go out there and I'll break it down. I'll come up with trade suggestions. And we had a good amount of people sending us those tweets wanting their teams broken down. This is something I do on Patreon all the time. But I thought it may be a little bit more interesting if I make a video about it. That way, instead of me going out there just sending like an article, I can actually produce some type of content that y'all would be interested in watching. So yeah, I'm definitely going to do this many times throughout the course of the offseason. So if you're not following me on Twitter or on Instagram, make sure you go do that now. But let's dive into this first team. And this first team is going to be in a super flex league with Mahomes at the quarterback 1 spot. So obviously Mahomes is the best asset that you can have in a Dynasty Superflex league, even with the struggles of the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line in the Super Bowl. That takes away nothing for Patrick Mahomes and his future projection. But then you go throughout the rest of the roster and you go, you know what? This is a pretty damn good team. I mean, not only do they have Mahomes as their cornerstone asset, they also have a couple of workhorse running backs that are still on their rookie contracts in Josh Jacobs and Cam Akers. And then you go down, you see that they have the Mahomes stack with Travis Kelce, and they have a ton of wide receiver production in Brandon Ayuk, Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones. The one thing about this team is you go over to the bench, and really outside of Brandon Cooks, there are absolutely no players that you could get excited about. And on top of that, they do not have a second quarterback. I mean, when you have Dwayne Haskins as your quarterback 2, you essentially don't have a quarterback 2, because I would be very surprised if Dwayne Haskins actually made the majority of the starts for the Pittsburgh Steelers next season. Obviously, they picked him up just kind of as a long shot, very similar to Josh Rosen going and playing with the Miami Dolphins. The only difference is we actually had the Pittsburgh Steelers not have to invest anything in to Dwayne Haskins compared to the Miami Dolphins and Josh Rosen example from a few years ago. But what is going to fix this team is the fact that they have the rookie pick 104. Because with this rookie pick 104, you actually are going to have a chance at Justin Fields. And that's going to be the #1 thing that I'm going to advocate for, is not making any moves on this team until we get to your rookie drafts. I know you're going to sit there and you're going to go, oh my gosh, I need a quarterback 2, I need a quarterback 2, I need a quarterback 2. Let me run out there and do something. And yes, if you can find a nice value, if you can find something that's a little bit too good to pass up on, definitely do that. I mean, obviously, if the value represents itself, feel free to take it. But what I do not want to see is I do not want to see you going out there and you forcing a trade, maybe taking a little bit less value than you actually should. I don't need to see you trading Brandon Ayuk for a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo just to fill the spot. No, right now, sit on your hands, wait until we get to rookie drafts, and once you make it there, what you can do is you can look to try to draft Justin Fields at the 104. If Justin Fields ends up going ahead of Najee Harris, Travis Etienne. Obviously, he's not going ahead of Trevor Lawrence. Do not need to even say anything about that. Then what we can do is we can take that rookie pick 104, where we know that there'll be one of Jamar Chase, there'll be one of Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Devontae Smith, all of those elite level prospects available, and you can try to package it together with some backup quarterbacks, some guys that we're not excited about in the slightest, and then you can try to trade that package for the best quarterback available. Because in this first league, that's going to be our main focus. When you look at the starting lineup requirements here, you only need to start 8 players any given week. And I don't know if y'all know anything about our flock leagues or anything really about any Dynasty league I've played in for the past 5 years. But generally, if you're looking at a just starting lineup requirement where you only have to start 8 guys, this is a very basic Dynasty league. This is a very simple beginning Dynasty league where depth does not really matter. I mean, you are going to be able to easily get by with having Brandon Cooks as the best player available on your bench, because in a Superflex league where you only have 8 starters, you actually have 25% of your starting spots being a quarterback. So what we are looking to do is we are looking to try to maximize the quarterback production in this Dynasty format. Whereas if you're playing in a league like I was talking to with Victor a few days ago, where you're having to start 14 players and it's Superflex, in that format, we can actually have your opponents really catching up on you at the quarterback position by filling those flex spots with elite wide receivers and just having a ton of depth. They have a lot more room to try to catch up to your quarterback lead, where if it's only a start 8, man, if you can get a Mahomes and if you get Justin Fields, who possibly turns out to being a low-end quarterback 1, that puts you so far ahead of the rest of the field, where if you're only starting 8 players, you need to prioritize getting 2 stud quarterbacks, especially when you have Travis Kelce to go along with that, because you could possibly be walking away with a 30-40 point advantage every single week based on your 2 quarterback spots and your tight end spot. And if that's the case, it really doesn't matter who your opponents have at wide receiver, running back, or flex any given week, because it's going to be an uphill battle for them to try to even come close to you. All right, well, let's get up our second team here. And this team is not going to be nearly as nice as the first one. I know that's an ass thing to say, but I have to be honest here. This is going to be Jalen Hurts at quarterback, Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins at running back, and I will say right away that I am completely fine with this. If you have Sanders and Dobbins as your running back 1 and 2, I think that is fantastic. Very similar to the last team. You have 2 running backs that are 3-down guys, still on their rookie contracts, exactly what we are looking for. And then we go down to the rest of the roster. And this is where it gets extremely ugly. I know if you look at the starting lineup, it actually looks a lot worse than what the roster actually is, because if you go to the bench, for whatever reason, Cam Akers is sitting there, where Cam Akers is going to be moved into the starting lineup. So once you do that, this roster does look a little bit better. But the worst thing about this roster, and it's not even close, is the roster allocation to the quarterback position. So here you can tell that this is a shallow Dynasty fantasy football format, very similar to the last league where we looked at, where preferably in my leagues, I like to be starting about 12 players. I like to be rostering about 30 to 35 guys. But no, the benches are small here. The starting lineup is small. So depth, not too important. What we want to be doing here is we want to be going with studs and duds, and we want to just be backfilling the end of our roster with some waiver wire players. So when we are looking at this roster, and really the worst guy that you have on here is going to be a LaMichael Pirine. So what that tells me is, that tells me that there are solid options at running back and wide receiver on the waiver wire. I think it's laughable that in a 1 quarterback league, you are deciding to spend 5 roster spots on the quarterback position. And while I love players like Ryan Tannehill, Tua, Jordan Love in Superflex leagues, in a 1 quarterback league, if you are going to be rostering this many and it takes away your bench spots from those waiver wire running backs and those waiver wire wide receivers, that's something that you are going to regret in the long run. You are consistently bleeding out value from your roster. And what sucks here is you really don't have a way to get through with that in the rookie draft. Because right now, the only picks available to this team are a late second and a couple thirds, where you can't realistically expect to hit on any given player in those ranges. If you look at historical hit rates, it doesn't matter. If you were the best Dynasty player ever at drafting rookies, most likely you're not going to get an impact player for a starting lineup this shallow at any one of those picks at the 212, the 307, or the 312. So there are a lot of moves that need to be made on this roster. I'll say right away that I think this team is one that is not ready to compete in 2021. And when that is the case, what I am looking to do is I am looking to completely punt. I want to make sure that I am maximizing the value on this roster for us competing in 2022. And how we are going to do that is we are going to trade away these borderline players for any and every upgrade that we can get in terms of our future roster allocation in value standpoint. And I know I probably just sounded like an idiot there, but if we are going to be giving you pure examples of what to do in this case, I would love to go out there and move an A.J. Dillon for a 2022 first round rookie pick. I think that's a move that would really help this team in the long run, and that's coming from someone who has A.J. Dillon on a significant amount of rosters. And if you had to add in one of those bench quarterbacks to get the deal done, I'm completely fine. I mean, even if you could go through and possibly trade A.J. Dillon and Jordan Love to a team for their first and second round pick next season, I think that's something that most owners would not be willing to give you for those two players, but you only need to find one owner in your league. I don't even care if he has a very strong roster. I think based on the fact that this team is not ready to compete, that's something I would be looking to do. And doubling down with that strategy, if you can find a team that needs a quarterback in this league for whatever reason, even though it's a one quarterback league, and you can try to get any value that you can for some of these other guys, if you could package a Ryan Tannehill and a Ronald Jones for a 2022 first round pick, I think that's something we would also like to do. I know that's not going to be nearly as likely, but what's great about these shallow formats is you can just throw a bunch of crap together and then you can send that out for one piece. And then when you pick up the extra roster spots, you're actually able to go out there and backfill your roster with talent that is equivalent to what you just traded away. So even if you need to throw in a LaMichael Pirine and a Van Jefferson, that's completely fine because there are going to be players almost of that caliber on the waiver wire. So yeah, just start making moves like that. I mean, try to take a Sterling Shepard and a package of Shepard, Tannehill, and Ronald Jones and see the best asset that you can get for 2022 in return. Open up some roster spots, shed some of these backup quarterbacks on the roster, and be able to have a more flexible roster in the 2022 football season, because that is when this team should be ready to compete. All right, now this is going to be our last team here. The reason I decided to choose this team is because the scoring format is very interesting. And what I mean by the scoring format is how you are wanting to allocate your roster positions to maximize the scoring in your starting lineup. Where, you know, a lot of leagues, like the first one I said, was you get your two quarterbacks, you get your tight end, and there are not enough flex spots and not enough starting wide receiver spots for your opponents to really catch up on you with. But no, in this league, it's kind of the opposite. I mean, here you're going to have 4 flex spots. You're going to have 3 wide receiver spots combined with the 2 running back spots. I mean, these are the leagues that I enjoy playing in, and these are the leagues where depth actually matters. And where the depth matters is it matters at the wide receiver position. What I love to do in these formats is I love to go out there and get a couple of running backs that are going to be those bell cow guys, the guy like the Dalvin Cook, the guy like the Clyde Edwards-Helaire, those elite level assets. That way you can feel confident rolling with them for the rest of the season. But we need to make sure that we are going to have, at the very minimum, a wide receiver 3 in every single one of our flex spots, combined with our 3 starting wide receiver spots. And then we're going to be able to chip away at any lead that our opponent may have at tight end or at the second quarterback position. And here with this team, I mean, you have so many options to go into next season with, because not only are you loaded with Cook, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the 2 running back spots, A.J. Brown, Godwin, CeeDee Lamb, Allen Robinson, James Robinson, T. Higgins in your wide receiver and flex. And then you have a player like Justin Herbert, who is emerging as a cornerstone asset in Dynasty, combined with Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, and Daniel Jones. So 3 quarterbacks that are likely to have starting jobs this upcoming season. So not only do you have all those assets, but we go to the draft pick side of things at the same time, and you have the 101, you have the 103, the 105, the 108. I mean, this team truly is a juggernaut roster. And what I'm going to be recommending for this roster is for you to go out there and actually make some upgrades in the starting lineup. And I know that is kind of obvious here, and that's what we should be trying to do in most Dynasty formats. Whereas in these deeper formats, generally, I think we can accumulate value by kind of trading a wide receiver 1 for a wide receiver 2 and an extra pick. But when it's time to kind of change our course, when it's time to try to get as much production in our starting lineup as possible, is when you have that truly elite team. So I don't want you to be doing this right now just because these rookie picks are only going to continue to rise in value. These rookie picks are going to give you the flexibility throughout the course of the season. Eventually, when we get to the point where those rookie picks may be capped out, what I want to be doing is I want to be trying to piece together trades where we can confidently upgrade our starting lineup, even if it's just marginally, because you are going to have to open up some roster spots on the bench for these new players coming in. And the ways that you can do this is, I mean, man, you can get creative. You can come out here, you can try to package together Dalvin Cook and Kareem Hunt, 2 running backs that hold a decent amount of value in Dynasty right now, and try to bump up and get that truly elite asset. Instead of a Dalvin Cook, maybe you can go out there and get someone a little younger like a Saquon Barkley. I think that is something that would significantly help this roster when you have those other rookies coming into backfill, because outside of Jacob Eason, outside of Andy Dalton, I mean, really, you don't have any other players on this roster that you would feel comfortable in cutting after the rookie draft. And despite me not seeing a taxi squad on your roster, you may have one where you can slide those rookies in, but eventually, when you draft Trevor Lawrence at the 101, when you draft a player like Travis Etienne at the 103, those players are going to need to come off the taxi. They're going to need to come on the starting roster, and you're going to have space for them. So what I'm going to be looking to do here is I'm going to be looking to take some of those bench guys that would be starters on an opponent's roster, package them with one of your current starters, and get an upgrade somewhere. But thank you guys. I know this was a longer video. I know this was a little bit of a different one. Let me know if y'all liked it down in the comment section below. Let me know what y'all thought of the audio. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much and have a great day.